small and intermediary enterprises and how to adapt to tax pressures smartly. Of course, like I told you, I'm joined with Kwebi Hamzamil to break down these matters further. I'm not going to make any further preamble. Let's get straight into this discussion. Mr. Kwebi Hamzamil, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Very good morning. And we're seeing what is happening around the country. Taxes increased, you know. I want to understand, as a trade leader who takes an organization, how have you been able to, to maneuver through such times?
Well, a very good morning, Smart TV viewers. Kwebi Hamzamil Award, Public Relations, Kampala Cadres Advocacy Forum, an organization that deals with traders in the Keds of Kampala. And as the economic hard times that we're facing, absolutely we are trying to swim within the turbulence, and we are surviving by God's grace, I'd really say. And I've always told people that currently we are competitors with the government at some point, because like we are competing for resources. Government wants resources, we also need them to survive. So for us, we are surviving at the minimum. The minimum, I cannot say that we are really at a boom. And we are seeing the business communities in Kampala, people shifting their businesses to smaller, dockets and all that, who do not wish to work within the CBD, Central Business District. But if a businessman decides to shift and then I've really, got choked, I cannot, proceed anymore. And then you see him, get the little that is remaining with, and then he shifts it to the outskirts of Kampala. And that means it's just a matter of time that you really shift again, to get to the villages and all that. So a lot have really shifted, and
many have shifted.
Exactly, many.
How are they performing where they are, at the suburbs where they are?
Well, at the suburbs, they cannot perform like as they were performing this side. Probably at the end of the day, still the country loses. Because when we talk about outside, the suburbs of Kampala and all that, and this somebody was a wholesaler and he has become a retailer. Is that good, really? And
I think if the market is there, if people if it's well strategically located, I think, in my opinion, I think it would still make.
Well, the truth is that a wholesaler would always be a wholesaler. I want to assure you, because we'll be dealing with one big capital. There is some massive investment if you would go for wholesale. But if we see you leave the wholesale and you've been selling in bulk, and then you're selling into small details,
as long as you can survive in the small details.
Exactly. Now, anyway, at what level are you surviving? At what level are you surviving? So this small, kind of business entities that our people are shifting to, they're not doing it willingly. It's the economy that is really facing the, challenging a little. So if somebody is in Chikubo, you see a businessman who has been serving the entire country at the wholesale level, is an agent of certain big factory, but now the factory cannot serve him anymore if he feels that he has reduced economically, and then he has disappeared. He's now fixed in Ibulenga, in a dusty road a little bit somewhere, in a feeder road, and then you say that it's for a better. No. So it's really, really, really challenging, and as we see, government is also coming up with tax, policies that are not really in line with what the situation is, because things should be rational. So like if you look at your taxpayers that they cannot really afford certain tax levels, then you probably a little bit calm down so that you really rhyme. You understand that? But we see government having a lot of big investment plans and all that, government plans, which is really good. But at the end of the day, who is to sustain them? The taxpayer. Anyway, if you look at your taxpayer, is he really, in line to really, afford your, the demands? And also on the other side, also. We as taxpayers, we have really realized, we are shocked by how the legislators have been also a little bit, performing unjust, whereby that they are having also kickbacks of certain, arrangements within budget allocations and all that, money allocations. It has disappointed us seeing certain legislatures, being remanded. Anyway, they are for trials and all that. They may go through, to could be, you know, mere allegations when actually, but you know, by the time that the DPP wakes up and then, you know, slaps a charge on you, then like you have a case to answer, then there is something. So we are so much disappointed, we as taxpayers, by the way how the government affairs are being handled when it comes to our taxes that we're really paying. So it's so disappointing that somebody that is really planning for this country, making policies, tax policies, again is asking for a kickback, you know, somewhere. So like a fixing, it's supposed to be 2 billion, then like, you know, then make it 10 billion, that, you know, you'll give me something. So we don't know, these are still allegations, but if they are true, then it's really very unfortunate. Yes.
Now, something I wanted to ask, what does the lesson in Kenya teach you, now you being a trade leader, the fact that these people are able to express what they say, the finance bill, the president did sign the bill, but for Uganda's case, I mean, because the issue is not the IFRIS, but what is the components within the IFRIS are the ones that are unfair, but that is an international kind of
exactly. Yes.
But you see, with your strikes, how you strike, you close down the shops. It didn't seem to pay off, and things are moving as usual, and you're paying taxes heavily. What does that? What does the lesson?
You see, we are living in two different countries and with different approaches. I'd really say, Kenyan civil rights societies are very, you know, active compared to Ugandans. That's very true. The civil response towards their national matter, you know, like is really, you know, vibrant. And with Uganda, we seem a little bit to be, you know, very unconcerned, and no wonder that in Uganda somebody may punch you on the street and then he robs you broad light and people are just watching. And nobody comes to your rescue. So like Kenyans are very sensitive to what is, you know, currency with their matter, as in tax policies and in fact everything. You know, a small kind of shift in any kind of tax policy, they are at alert, and like, you know, they really come out vibrantly, and they would question why, you know, half a shilling has really been added on a tax, you know, that's how they are. And with Ugandans, right from our parliament, our representatives are not very sensitive enough. You know, I'm not rebuking them, but they are not very sensitive enough. They are very sensitive when it comes to political, you know, kind of adjustments and all that. Yeah. You know, bajikwateko, you know, change, you know, of political issues. They would really come out so quickly, you know, sensitize the public, the bajikwateko issue, we shall not and all that. But when it comes to, you know, economic issues in parliament, there isn't much vibrancy that I really see, that whereby like our representatives would really come out and inform the public, you know, something is coming out. Certain taxes are going to be, they are changing for your disadvantage. So they don't. But in Kenya, right from the parliament, they are very sensitive. You know, an increase on oil, you know, like they're like, oh, you know, they really come out. An increase on bread, they really come out. But certain things have occurred in Uganda. For example, how do you reach a level? How do you reach a level of whereby like our own attire, the clothes being measured in kilograms. To justify to have the taxes? It's impossible. It's not really there. But how did it go beyond our representatives in the parliament of this country, that they all agreed that indeed you bring your clothes, put on a weighing machine, and then they say this is your tax according to the kilograms. So it's really very unfortunate. Yes, the common man may not be sensitive enough to really get to understand what is forthcoming. But the legislatures of this country, you know, our representatives need to wake up and really probably defend our rights. So in Kenya, what is happening is that the youth, you know, are very, they are on alert. They've really come out because, like, the youth are the future. Exactly. You understand? The youth are the future, and they've really come out strongly. They've demanded for a positive change to you know, withdraw this, you know, tax bill that is looking at because they were explaining. I saw youth in Kenya, young as not even youth but below the youth age. I saw a certain girl who really came out strongly of around like 8 years, really, you know, telling President Ruto that indeed, how do you increase oil? like a percentage to of 25%, whereby like we eat skuma wiki, and skuma wiki is our daily meal. Can it really go without some kind of oil? You understand that? We eat posho. I understand that? Really, posho with the dry skuma wiki without oil, it's really unfair. So this young girl was explaining the life of a Kenyan to details, which is a little bit opposite to a Ugandan. And understand that? So the youth really came out strongly. I condemn the destructive demonstrations. You understand that? Whereby like you go, then if you're exercising your rights, then they must be within your rights. Understand that? Don't jeopardize other people's rights. Because like if you are demonstrating and you're enjoying the rights of demonstrations, they should not probably tantamount a little bit distort other people's rights. You are demonstrating peacefully, and then you go on somebody's shop, you start looting. Now that means now you're becoming a criminal. I understand that now you're not a demonstrator. So I do not want Ugandans to copy that kind of demonstration. I understand that demonstrating is good for your probably demanding for your right. But again, destructive demonstration is not good. And anyway, Kenya is also developing a certain habit. I understand that? And which is emanating from certain character. Because when you have a certain character, then you develop a certain habit. Now, like we have seen the, very destructive demonstrations in Kenya.
Of course.
Yes, in Uganda we've got some Kenyans who are living in Kiliandongo who were affected by the other demonstration when Ruto and Raila Odinga, they had certain kind of no. It was Kibaki, and then Odinga, and then
there was a mini genocide.
Exactly. Where Ruto came in, and then also the former president Kenyatta also came in. So within that, kind of conflict, they had the charges. They were slap charges of the ICC, and understand that. But still, there are certain Kenyans who are in Uganda. They are living in Kiliandongo. They were shipped because of the the massacre. So that means we do not want to have demonstrations that go to the levels of massacre. Now we want to answer your question. That for us we went to a sit-down strike, but still we had certain achievements because we got the president's attention. And then like discussions are still going on up to now. The president is still analyzing. Does really IFRIS affect a common man? Is it a positive kind of tool to the economy as a whole, or it's really a little bit infringing on people's livelihoods? Because is consulting different whatever, and we are patient enough. We've been patient enough.
Very interesting. There is something I want to ask. Currently, due to the IFRIS, because when you walk around downtown and you go to the different shops and you ask for the price of something, it's more like the prices are so now much more increased, and it makes you realize that these people are actually paying because due to IFRIS, But then there is something which is emerging, which I don't know whether some of the traders have actually gotten to understand it. The e-commerce aspect, because you realize that when people that make orders online, they tend to enjoy cheaper prices compared to people that go to the shops in downtown to buy actual items. Isn't that a threat to the people downtown that have in arcades? That the people that are running e-commerce platforms are going to put them out of business if they don't adjust to it? Because we are talking about adapting to tax pressures smartly, some of the innovative solutions for the SMEs.
You see, at the end of the day, whether you sell using the e-commerce business, you probably have to use an IFRIS receipt. It's impossible. Because at the end of the day, these tax bodies have got what we call intelligence. They really find out somebody really working as on the e-commerce, kind of channel, and then you get to come in as a client or a customer, and then you pass it to, you make, a transaction.
Okay, here, and it's way beyond the IFRIS, because I look at even the rent.
Exactly. That's very true. Do you know that e-commerce business is going to be taxed, or you don't know?
I know.
Exactly. That's very true. So, but okay, it's of an advantage because now it is the latest technology, and that's the wave that we are moving to. That's the wave we are moving to. However, what people should understand that IFRS is not a tax. That's very true, but it's got its own advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. The biggest disadvantage that IFRS is having, for example, it will automatically demand you certain kind of things to be in place. For example, it would if you have to have IFRS in a supermarket, you need to have an IFRS system which would part with 40 million. If you don't know, 40 million. That is the IFRS system in a supermarket. If you are installing it and all that, and then at the end of the day, like look at the Chikumbo business community and setup, whereby like IFRS would demand you to employ somebody that would really manage it. Now that's an extra cost too. An IFRS system would require you to have internet data, and whereby like if government can put hotspot everywhere. Maybe, which it has not done, because by national by UN, you know, standards, internet is right now. Yeah. So like you cannot tell people to use IFRS which uses data and then that you don't have hotspot. It's impossible. You want to get to get more taxes from me by bringing a tool that would really, you know,
drain me financially.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're not giving back. That's the problem with the government now. So therefore, you need to employ somebody who will manage it. Two, you need to have data. Understand that. And then at the end of the day, you find sometimes the internet is off. Yes, you use it on flight mode, but there are cases in courts of law whereby URA has been taken to court for claiming that people did not that certain taxpayers did not use the IFRS when actually they used it during when the internet was down, and then it was in flight mode. Then again, at the end of the day, they are dragged to court, and then over 6 cases that have been won against them. That means IFRS still has certain loopholes. Now, if you are this younger, for example, let us look at our society. You know, like we may want to have the Western developed kind of systems within our third world systems. Here you are, Mr. Andrew is somebody who has started making certain small things. He's a small business kind of a person at a micro level, not even small level. And whereby like he's taking his merchandise into a supermarket. Let's take an example. Maybe he's making crisps, and then the crisps is making around like of 200,000, which is less than $60. But again, is being demanded to be on IFRS by a supermarket, whatever. You know, now at the end of the day, it is closing out certain, you know, young, you know, entrepreneurs, small business, you know, entities to enter into to enjoy certain kind of business relation with big entities. I understand that. Yeah. So a boy will like, you know, now crisps Bwange, I have my binyep and all that. How will I probably supply them? Now what it will do, it will burst certain people, go beyond certain levels. Understand that? That's why they are telling you that in Uganda's economy, it's very easy to become rich than in Rwanda, than in Kenya. Do you know why? Why? Because like a small player, he can easily fix himself within a society of big, you know, tycoons, and he would really make sales. Okay. Understand that? Strategy. For example, if you went in Kigali, yes, Kigali is beautiful, very, very beautiful, but it's not easy to have a Toninyira in Kigali. Because for them, they are looking at certain standards, but they may not mind about what about the starters who are starting from the scratch. But in Kigali, you don't start from a scratch. If you're making a small kind of a Toninyira, then the Toninyira should have certain standards. But can the people afford the standard you are setting? Okay. I understand that. In Kampala, somebody can sell on the streets, and then sells to Andrew, coming from the corporate end. I understand that. And certain corporate class would also know that certain cheap commodities are downtown. Then they walk in. I do not understand that. That means at the end of the day, you find that this small kind of dealer is also a little bit getting to have money from a certain class.
Oh yeah,
I understand that. Now there is there are other countries whereby like there is an economic apartheid, whereby like if you don't have a certain economic level, you will never get to a certain society and do business there. It's only in Kampala, in Uganda. That's why they will tell you that arcade owners in Kampala were Buvera sellers, selling Buvera. Others were border riders. Others came in here selling Miera, Matoke. Understand that? Why? How did they achieve it? Because, you know, it was this mixed kind of society whereby they could easily sell to everybody. I understand that. Now when IFRIS comes in and then it is streamlining certain people, now it is a little bit segmenting and creating a wide gap.
It's, in other words,
exactly
creating an economic an economic divide.
Exactly. There are certain countries that you can never cross from one economic status to another, and it is very hard, and certain families have gotten to know that they can never cross.
Okay.
And they will live that low income level for the rest of their lives. Maybe if it happens by chance.
Okay.
I understand that. Economically, you know, like socially, politically discriminated. I understand that. There are certain countries whereby like it is very hard for you to cross to a political class. Leave alone Uganda, but somebody who just wake up and he has been a street guy and all that, then tomorrow he becomes an MOP. If not even he becomes an opposition leader.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Now, even in the economic affairs of this country, probably we are not yet there.
Okay.
I understand that. And I know President Museveni, you know, like is really analyzing. And if people can explain to him how certain things are going to be hard for certain people, if certain systems are brought in. Well and good that the government may get certain money from a certain class of people, but a certain class of people will be left far back.
Those are the people that run.
Exactly. I understand that. And now, if you wake up and harass Chikubo, Chikubo was started by Ugandans. That is their business entity. Started by Ugandans.
Yeah.
Typical indigenous Ugandans. Now, at the end of the day, somebody brings a system that is trying to destroy a little. Understand that? And he wants these people to catch up with the system so quickly.
Yeah.
So quickly as yesterday. I understand that. So like, you know, like it should be a gradual process. If you've just brought IFRIS, how can you do it, you know, in a rational manner, you know, like gradually and all that? Give it some time.
Okay.
But if you just wake up, this illiterate man who never went to school, he only studied of how to go to China and sell things or go to factories and then bring it here and all that. Now you are subjecting him to very sophisticated technology. Understand that? And then you want him, you come to him for only, you've sensitized him for only 3 months. And then after 3 months, you want him to catch up. Exactly. And then he's telling you that there is a cost for me to catch up with this. You're telling him, no.
That's unrealistic.
That's unrealistic. So therefore, Uganda should go slow on certain economic technologies that they are trying to enforce on taxpayers. It's really going to become a little bit a problem.
Yeah.
And I want to assure you, when these taxpayers you see in Chikubo, once they scatter, probably, one, they are playing a very good role. They are in the chain of supply.
Yeah.
Understand that? Even if you have factories and you've distorted the Chikubo, there is a likelihood of failure somewhere.
Wow.
Understand that? And if you think that traders are going up country, that's where they will whatever, then URA will need a heavy enforcement, much enforcement to probably
the cost.
Which is a cost at the end of the day. So they should not destroy a certain business class. Let us go slow.
Amazing. I've been with Kwebiham Zami spokesperson Kafo, and of course breaking down the matters to do with the innovative solutions to survive amidst the tax pressures, but of course in a smart manner. Well, that's it for today's edition of Smart Means Business. Thanks for being part of it. Till tomorrow, good morning.